head-to-head. It's 2-1 to Higgins, not much in it, and of course the bookies can't separate them either. It's a match which could go either way, and opinions, expert and public alike, are very much divided.
I've been a fan of John Higgins for quite a while, and I've tipped him to win every time this week. And Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't been on quite the same form throughout this season. I just have a feeling today that it'll be the flair of Ronnie O'Sullivan that will take him through. It'll be a great match to watch, but I'm going to go for the young Londoner.
John, to me, has played the most consistent snooker throughout the week, and if he can keep performing like that throughout this final, I think I would just about give him the edge.
I hope that it's as good a match as it was when they last played, which was the quarter-final of the Welsh Open. Higgins won 5-4 then. O'Sullivan started the last frame with a 68 break. Higgins topped it with a 69. I think it could be O'Sullivan's turn today.
I think John Higgins has got the better all-round game. Ronnie is much more flamboyant and he'll take on all the risks. So it's just a matter of how Ronnie plays, but I'm going to go for John Higgins.
I think Ronnie's going to win.
Now let me think. I think Higgins.
Well, I think Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to probably finish up this afternoon, probably 5-2, I should say.
Higgins, I think he's going to thrash him. I hope so, anyway.
I played Ronnie a couple of years ago up in Scotland in an exhibition match, and they were all for me. And I thought that put a little bit extra pressure on me to do well in front of them. So hopefully it can have the same effect on Ronnie, and maybe he can miss a few and then I can get in.
People say to me, slow down, but I get excited when I start potting balls and that, and I feel really good in myself. You know, I don't feel like I miss a ball. And the game just does really seem too easy at sometimes. And I can't tell you what goes on my head because there's nothing. It's just all instinct. It's all the hours and practice that you put in. You know, I pot a red, I know the black goes. I know if I pot the black, I open up that red, it leaves the red's open in the middle. You know, it's just something that, you know, it's not sort of like, oh, I've been put on as a snooker. It's 10, 11 years of hard, sheer graft in the snooker.
I feel I can go a long way in it, although there's still a lot of great players, about like Hendrys and Davises and that, but I feel as if I can go a long way in them. And getting through to the final. It's my third final this year, so I'm very proud of what I'm doing.
Well, the players, as you can see, are all set to go, waiting in the wings, no doubt trying to keep those butterflies under control. Let's see what sort of reception they get from a sellout Wembley crowd this afternoon, and that, of course, is the biggest snooker audience on the circuit. We hear firstly from our MC, Norman de Mesquita.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to welcome the finalists in the 21st Benson Hedges Masters. First, a young man who is here for the first time. He's one of the 2 wildcard entrants this year, and he's the first wildcard to reach even the semi-final, let alone the final. And on the way to this afternoon's final, he's beaten Tony Drago, 5-3, Darren Morgan, 5-2, the defending champion, Alan McManus, 5-2, and in his semi-final, Jimmy White, 6-1. Welcome, please, John Higgins. His opponent was one of the 2 wildcards last year. This year, he's here as of right, being currently ranked number 9 in the world. He's beaten John Parrott, 5-4, Terry Griffiths, 5-2, and in yesterday's semi-final, Peter Ebden, 6-4. Welcome, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So an enthusiastic welcome for both players. It's the best of 17 frames this final, 7 scheduled for this afternoon, a possible 10 to come again this evening. Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins for the 21st Benson & Hedges Masters title. Our commentators for this opening session, John Spencer and Ray Edmonds.
So they just posed for the pre-match photographs alongside that wonderful trophy. And the atmosphere already electric, and they've not hit a ball yet.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
And I think the safety play in this match might be the deciding factor. Ronnie O'Sullivan, better known for his dynamic potting, but when he puts his mind to it, he can play safety pretty well with the best of them.
Yes, and that's a good opening pot from John. No position, but put Ronnie in trouble.
John.
And that's certainly what's impressed me about John. He seems to settle down straight away, doesn't seem to suffer too much from nerves.
Certainly deserve that applause.
Yes, and that safety shot will cause Ronnie a bit of problem. No easy path back to the bulk end, so may have to settle for leaving the white on this back cushion.
Well, Ronnie may have left a path through to the red just to the left of the pink. And that will go to the right middle, but not an easy pot, and John refusing the half chance, perhaps wisely.
Yes, and both these players showing that when necessary, they can both play good safety.
Yes, it's not often that we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan play for 6 minutes at the opening frame without attempting a pot. It's important for Ronnie that he doesn't get frustrated. I think that once he's learnt that a tactical battle is often an integral part of playing snooker, he'll start to enjoy it more and be a much better player for it. At the moment, he prefers to knock them in whenever possible, but showing admirable restraint at the moment.
Yes, and played an excellent safety shot there. And John having to come off the side cushion and hope to get safe down near this back cushion.
Foul 4, a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yes, John can clearly hit reds. I'm trying to drop on this one to get the cue ball safe, but he can clearly hit the red near the pink there.
Okay, Ronnie.
Yes, in actual fact, there is a path off that red near the pink, back to ball, but it's got to be judged to perfection, the black and those three reds. And that's the first mistake. After some excellent safety play, chance for Ronnie.
One. Six. Six, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, that was unusual. Didn't have to do a lot with the cue ball, so must have just taken his eye off it. The This is a big shot that John's taking on. Pot to the right corner.
One.
Yes, so you have to say this is a good chance now for John to put a few points on the board. The only problem is when he pots the black here, it's going to be tied up with that cluster of reds. So he'll have to concentrate on the pink.
8. Nine.
Things obviously not all that straightforward there, and the red's in one another's way, but
15.
but we've seen how good this young man is at sorting a break out from nothing, but he's gone astray there.
Green ball. 16, John Higgins.
Yes, and both these players showing a lot of patience. Both just had the one chance. And that's a good shot from Ronnie. Played that with a lot of right on side. May have been a little unfortunate, however. Just pushed a red over the right corner.
Well, he'll certainly take the blue on this time.
Blue ball.
Needs a bit of luck, I think, as to where the cue ball finishes, because I think he'll hit into a red.
Six.
That could have gone better. Tricky shot to the right middle.
6, John Higgins.
Yeah, someone's tempted into going for that, and that could be a big mistake. The Reds are
1.
very nicely situated now at the top end of the table. Pink and black available, so this is just the sort of chance Ronnie thrives on.
Seven. 8. 14. 15.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan visibly taking
21.
a shade longer on his shot than normal, and I think it's a measure of the respect he's got for John Higgins. And I think when Ronnie does
22.
do this, he's certainly not slow, but he's still one of the fastest in the game. But I think it makes him that much stronger.
$28. 29. 35. 36.
'And certainly the last time these two players met in the Welsh
42.
Open in Newport, Ronnie was well ahead in two what turned out to be vital frames, and just one lackadaisical shot, and his opponent John Higgins cleared up to win, including the final frame. So that will be in his memory.
Yes, and it appears he's taking another chancy shot on here, attempting this red along the back cushion, and this is a very thin shot.
Well, having said,
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
having said how carefully he was playing, I agree with John. That wanted a miracle shot. And he's a bit lucky to get behind the yellow.
One.
And I think it was a needless risk that this young man's liable to take advantage of.
Seven. 7, John Higgins.
Well, it was a bad shot. He said he certainly should have made sure the red wasn't going to kiss the brown.
sign of the confidence and knew he was going to split those.
One.
But that previous shot from Ronnie didn't do himself a lot of harm by putting the brown against that side cushion. Johnny's going to need that to go on and win the frame at one visit.
7. 8. 14. 16.
Well, he certainly left himself the angle to move the brown. The pot's a little more difficult, but if he gets this right, there's every chance he'll win the frame.
Yes, this is no easy shot, however, with your hand on the table, but with the rest in the extension, take a real good shot.
$19. 19.
Good safety shot, taking the brown up and down the table. There's a double kiss on, and he avoided it well. Really does know his way round the table with these safety shots, John Higgins.
Yes, and Ronnie having to swerve this, take the brown. And that looks as though it's over the centre, so this is a great chance for John. Although the blue's not going to be the normal formality of its spot, it'll have to go into one of the corners.
4.
So just the pink required. And certainly Ronnie O'Sullivan, if he loses this frame, will remember that shot on the third last red. Safely in. So this young Scotsman stays cool and takes what? A 25-minute opening frame. 1-0 to John Higgins.
And if anyone thought that those two splendid young players were going to try and pot each other into defeat, then they're wrong, because that was 25 minutes and very cagey stuff, John.
It was very cagey. Ray Edmonds mentioned in the commentary that Ronnie was just taking an extra beat over his shots as respect for John Higgins. I honestly think it's showing respect for the game. I think that's Ronnie's weakness. He doesn't show the game enough respect sometimes. And a very tense opening. I was imagining John Higgins would be glad to win it.
Yeah, and yet everyone has a natural rhythm, don't they, John? And Ronnie maybe shouldn't slow down too much.
Well, that's true, but I mean, he isn't going to slow down too much. All he's got to do is recognise the shots that are difficult and don't treat every shot the same.
Yeah, but John Higgins, as he has been all week, just very steady, doesn't miss much.
Well, he doesn't miss much, and also, as he proved there, when it got to the end of the frame, he was in complete control of the safety, and in the end, it won it in.
Yeah, so fascinating opening frame. Let's go out for the second of our scheduled 17 in this Masters final. Higgins 1-0 up at the moment.
So the usual enthusiastic Wembley audience shouting on their favourites.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The second frame. John Higgins to break.
So there doesn't look to be too easy a safety shot for Ronnie here. I think he can just get the left-hand side of the reds as you look at them to take the cue ball away.
Fortunate kiss on the brown for Ronnie there. Got John in a bit of trouble.
Well, applause, but this red just might tempt Ronnie O'Sullivan. He needs a good shot to get onto a colour, so that might put him off it, but he really wants to take it on. Whether it's wise or not, he's decided perhaps not. Well, has Ronnie pushed that red far enough down for John to cut in? I think he has.
Yeah, that was certainly a very fine cut, but a good shot from John. But now a pressure ball if he takes this yellow on, but he's electing to just roll up behind it, quite rightly so, I feel.
John Higgins.
And that's not the best of shots. Well, it appears that Ronnie's looking at these two reds into this left-hand corner, a plant. And that's another risky shot. Gone stray for Ronnie, so that bad shot from John has paid off.
1. One, John Higgins.
Just enough angle on this red, I think, to screw across for the black.
1. Eight. 9.
Well, that's again a mistake by Ronnie.
16.
Certainly didn't intend the collision with the red.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So that was a good chance that Ronnie didn't take full advantage of. And John being tempted, I think, with this one down the left corner.
Yes, and played it well. In fact, he played it in such a way he couldn't leave a lot, and he missed it.
Eight. 9. 16. 17. 24. 25.
And there's still a couple of reds just behind the pink that will go to the left corner pocket after the black.
32. 33. 40. $41. Yeah.
I think removing that red has opened up the path for the red to the left of the pink into the left-hand centre.
$48. $48. John Higgins.
Yes, John shaking his head. He got, as you see here, the cue ball jumped a little, and John's gesture showed what he thought of it.
1.
Bad time to get a kick in sight of winning this second frame.
$5. $6.
And that's a good shot from Ronnie. Knows he's got to move some of these 3 reds to continue the break and come down and has the perfect angle on the black.
$13. $14. $16. $17. 23. $24.
Yes, and you would think now the only saviour for John would be this blue near the left-hand side cushion, which Ronnie's going to require.
27. $29.
Just had a quick look, Ronnie O'Sullivan, to see if there was an angle to get that blue off that might save John's bacon.
32.
Hasn't got it.
$36.
Well, 6 inches shot of being near perfect. Wonderful shot to sort out. And 1 good shot on the blue, though, required now.
$41.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan showing his mettle now. Brilliant 47 clearance to level the match at 1 frame apiece. And this match is just starting to live up to the expectations. John Higgins looking as if he was going to go 2-0, 1 error, and well, you saw Ronnie O'Sullivan make this marvellous clearance. He got into trouble and on this shot, John, and frankly I couldn't visualise how he'd get on the blue.
Yes, I think this is the shot of the championship so far. I mean, it's just tremendous the amount of side he had on that white.
Yes, I think it's going to be only 1 error per frame that might cost either player the frame. As I say, the atmosphere is electric, and Well, they haven't had the biggest breaks in the first two frames, but certainly the snooker's kept people on the edge of the seats, the commentators and everybody else. And it's a wonderful auditorium here, made for a
Thank you,
good
ladies
match.
and gentlemen. The third frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Let's see if it continues that way.
Yes, and there's a problem for John. Normally he can rest them to the side of the pack of reds, but there's reds either side of the cluster, so has to be very careful.
Clever shot from John Higgins. Couldn't get it absolutely safe, but didn't leave Ronnie anything that was worth taking the risk with. And then Ronnie has just been a little bit quick on that one. Should have had the cue ball tight on the cushion.
Yes, and these are the shots Ronnie finds it hard not to take on. So another great pot from Ronnie.
One.
The reds are not too badly placed in this end of the table. It's just this initial positional shot that's the difficult one.
Six. Six. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, just a lapse. No kick, nothing wrong at all. Just a lapse. And it may well be costly.
One. Eight. Nine. Nine. John Higgins.
Mistake this time from John, so mistakes coming from both players now.
One. 8, 9,
'That come to work
16.
out much better for Ronnie. Choice of red into the corner.
17,
And now the reds are perfectly situated.
24, 25,
Okay, just a little bit careless from Ronnie. He wanted to be straighter on the black. Just makes it missable when you're playing the cut. No problem though.
32, 33, 39, 40, 47, 48,
So now 52 points in front.
55,
Just at the vital time, just going astray.
Yes, but that black. Music John Lloyd requires snookers.
$64.
It was a very difficult shot on the black, John, though, wasn't it? And it just made it look so easy, and it was the one that won the frame.
$67. 68.
So this time, well, he's taken the black again to hold for position, but this is another difficult one. But the frame well and truly won.
Ronnie O'Sullivan and the frame.
It is, so Ronnie O'Sullivan breaking out there, taking full advantage of John Higgins' error, takes the lead at 2 frames to 1.
And Ronnie, of course, with the bulk of the support at Wembley this afternoon, and my goodness, they enjoyed that. Ronnie in good form, although it has to be said, an uncharacteristic John Higgins mistake to let him in, John.
Yes, he's not been missing those all week, and he can't afford to miss those type of shots. You can't afford to miss easy shots when you're in the balls.
Let's take you back to the second frame, because it was a 47 clearance by Ronnie, and a very good clearance, but the shot on the brown really was exceptional, wasn't it?
Well, he hasn't really got the angle to get close to the blue, going direct, so it's a deep screw with right-hand side, and you've really got to get the cue going through the cue ball. And it's when it comes off the second cushion you really get the effect of the side. But what impressed me more, I mean, obviously that was a tremendous shot, was the courage he's shown on the blue, because this blue isn't easy, and he could have played it firm to get good position on the pink, and he just decided to roll it in dead weight, so if it didn't go in, he'd lost the frame. So that's, you know, the confidence that the young man's got.
He certainly does, and now he leads 2-1, and it's frame 4.
Gentlemen, could I ask you in the front row here, please, stop talking.
Yes, when you're in a large auditorium, when everyone else is quiet, somebody whispers and it echoes, and just disturbed Ronnie there. But he's in a bit of trouble from John's break. Certainly in this match, I think most people thought that John's tactical and safety play would be better than Ronnie's, but Ronnie is matching him shot for shot. Certainly holding his own in that department, and as long as he just continues to curb too much enthusiasm, John Higgins is going to have to play well to hold him. So this time an error from Ron has allowed John Higgins to get his hand on the table, and he'll take this shot onto nothing. And he doesn't miss many of those usually, but there is a bit of tension, obviously.
Yes, and Ronnie could be very dangerous now.
One.
He got his confidence together with that nice break in the last frame. Well, he won't be too happy with that shot.
3. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And it's quite remarkable how maybe 10, 12 years ago you seem to get your knowledge and maturity at this game in the 30 years out upwards. These two lads have got it, and they're only 19, and they're playing some superb stuff.
Yes, and certainly Ronnie's been putting a lot more thought in his shots today. Well, I don't know if he played the pot there or not. He'll certainly be happy with it.
Six. 7. 7, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So that's one of his favourite shots. He's renowned for the potting of the blue to any of the corner pockets. Misses them very rarely. He's perhaps trying to steer the cue ball a little to drop on the red, and he's lucky that the blues come out there, as you see, and block the passage of the red that he played position on.
Well, this probably play safe off the red just above the blue, but he won't have much idea where the other reds are going with the collision. And he's played that well.
He's left a tempter for John, though, the red to the right corner. He's not taking that one on, but I think he'll be taking this one on and screwing back perhaps for the yellow. John's turn to be fortunate. Had no idea where the red would finish.
Yes, the white could finish in an awkward position for John here, however. And it's an excellent shot from Ronnie. Crowd applauding, but that's not what John wanted. Left Ronnie a simple red into the right corner.
One. Seven. Eight. Thirteen. 14.
Choice of pink or blue, but both could be big shots.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Didn't really play that with any conviction. Wasn't happy about it, but he's 24 points in front, and although he's left his opponent a half chance, it's a tough pot.
Yes, the blue's not helping John here, making it awkward bridging. And they're hard enough without being hampered. So another chance for Ronnie.
One.
Well, he's got a bit of an angle on the pink, but whether any of the reds will go or not, I'm not sure. But if not, he may try and clatter them open. Well, I reckon he's been a bit unlucky.
7.
Yes, a great shot. Not much he can do now. That red at the bulk end, of course, making a good safety shot.
7. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Difficult, so just a containing safety. Good pop from John.
1.
Needs another one, however, to keep the break going. Well, he'll be happy with that shot. Don't know whether he can get to the one over the pocket, but the one to right of the pink will certainly go. Well, you can see he can get easily to the one over the pocket.
5.
So a chance here for John to get back into this frame.
Five. John Higgins.
Well, that's another bad mistake by John, and he certainly can't afford to make those sort of mistakes. Ronnie will certainly punish him eventually with those sort of shots.
1. Seven. 8.
Well, that's not so clever. And again, he's got a 34-point lead. There's no real sense in taking anything on that's particularly difficult or awkward.
Eight.
Yes, and I think that's the difference this afternoon with Ronnie. That's the sort of shot you don't normally see him play. Put the green and the brown safe, just in case John should get in a position to clear up.
Well, very useful fluke.
Green ball.
Not the 1 point, but where the cue ball's going to be now.
One.
Yes, and this isn't the easiest to hit, let alone get safe.
Foul 4, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And what's worse, he's left Ronnie and red into the right corner.
1.
And you would certainly expect Ronnie to go on now and clinch the frame at this visit.
Yes, that pink puts him 46 in front, 43 on.
7. 8.
So it hadn't quite been the match that we thought. We thought it was going to be John's very good tactical player and Ronnie O'Sullivan attacking, but
15.
It's been a fascinating
16.
balance of both. And it has to be said that John has maybe made 1 or 2 more errors than Ronnie.
23.
And perhaps the rub of the green has just gone Ronnie O'Sullivan's way, but it is the best of 17. We're only at the mid-session interval, and John concedes. So it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who leads by 3 frames to 1.
Yes, and after taking the opening frame of the final, John Higgins has now lost 3 in a row, and really for the first time. I know he was 3-0 down to Tony Drago last week, John, but he really didn't get to the table then. But this is the first time we've seen him actually struggling a little bit.
Yes, I mean, all week he's been machine-like. I mean, every time he gets a chance, he seems to be winning the frame. And he's had good chances now in the last 2 frames and not really scored, you know, for whatever reason.
Ronnie perhaps carrying just a little bit of luck in that 4th frame, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie had a run on the ball. I mean, one in particular. Insignificant little things where Ronnie's played the blue in the top, it stopped 2 reds going. Later on in the frame, he plays another blue, which hampers John for his next shot. But John has had good chances, and he's missed 2 pinks in the middle now, which has cost him 2 frames. And as I said, he can't afford to do that.
Well, he's got a bit of thinking to do during this mid-session interval, but stay with us. We'll be back live, of course, for the second session of this Masters final. But let's find out now whether you've been lucky in our Masters quiz. Remember that earlier in the week we were asking you to identify 3 players, all of whom had one thing in common. They had all been runners-up to Stephen Hendry here at Wembley in the Masters. This was question number 1, the first of our mystery men, with a few clues to help you to identify him. Mystery player number 1 then. We gave you 2 choices. Was it A, John Parrott, or B, Tony Knowles? And the answer, of course, proved to be John Parrott. Here's number 2. Did you recognise this player? the player who likes blind date and doesn't like spiders? Was it Nigel Bond or James Watana? And the answer, of course, the man from Thailand, James Watana. And finally, question 3. Who was this? Number 3, the Clint Eastwood fan. Was that Terry Griffiths or Mike Hallett? And the answer, of course, was Mike Hallett. So the winning formula we wanted was A, John Parrott, B, James Watana, and B again, Mike Hallett. Thanks for all your entries, lots of them, lots of the correct ones too, I have to say. But the winner, as picked out by our computer, Mr. Harry Woodman from East Sheen in London, who receives £500 in premium bonds. Our 3 runners-up, who each receive an autographed cue: Peter Hampton from Markham and Gwent, Albert Howick from Redhill in Surrey, and Howard Begley from Sheffield. Autographed cues for them. Well done to everyone, and thanks indeed to all of you who entered. Now, as I'm sure you know by now, this is the 21st year of the Benson and Hedges Masters. It's always been one of the highlights of the snooker calendar, and one which over those years has attracted all the great players. Now, in an exercise in unashamed nostalgia, here are some of the great moments of those 20 years. This was the original Masters Trophy back in 1975, and bidding for the honours in the very first tournament at the West Centre Hotel in London, the great rivals of that era, Ray Reardon and John Spencer. What a match it turned out to be. 8 frames all in the final, and it's down to a re-spotted black.
The final now, having been played over some 10 hours of play, with now the black ball only left. Who is going to pull this out of the bag? It's a great one. It's a great one by John Spencer. So Spencer becomes the first Benson and Hedges Master.
Well, of course, the B&H even in 75 was a big tournament to win. I think one of the funny things, you know, looking back on it, is the TV side of things. The referee, of course, wasn't mic'd up, and he was shouting at the top of his voice every break, you know, and I found that very funny. And the prize money, £2,000, which then, you know, was quite good prize money.
Alex Hurricane Higgins, the charismatic Irishman, began a Masters era all of his own in 1978. With his distinctive attacking style, he was an instant favourite with the London public. They roared him on to victory over the Canadian Cliff Thorburn.
A swerve around the green, onto the top cushion or onto the red. Oh no, he's taking it full swing.
Finally, it is the Canadian Cliff Thorburn who gives in and congratulates the Irishman who won the world title way back in 1972, has taken 3 titles in the past year and now claims the Benson Hedges title for his own.
He was the most natural player I've ever seen in my life. The shots he played, the way he played them, the panache. Yeah, Higgins, to me, was the most natural player I've ever seen.
A year later, and the tournament moved across London to its current home, the Wembley Conference Centre. Higgins was aiming to secure a unique Masters double, but his opponent had other plans. Higgins was stopped by the South African left-hander Perry Mans, who made history by setting a record no other champion would want to emulate. He won the tournament without making a break of more than 50. A third Masters final for the Hurricane in 1980. This time he was up against the Welshman Terry Griffiths. It was Terry's first appearance in the Masters.
It's a bit special, the Conference Centre, and it's very special to play against Alex Higgins in those days because he just created an atmosphere that no other professionals has ever created when you go out there to play against him. it was live, it was electric out there, and your hair stood up in the back of your head when you went out there, because it is tremendous, and you either accepted it for what it was, or you sort of went underneath it, you know, and Alex had that type of effect on people, but he's a tremendous player to play against.
Again, it wasn't to be Higgins' year. Everything was going right for Terry, and he finished the match in style.
Looks as if he's attempting to double it.
Perfect camera shot of the world champion and now the Masters champion. This flag will bring his break to 131, a magnificent performance by this 31-year-old Welshman from Llanelli. A fabulous performance. Great show, and congratulated immediately by a young man who must be terribly unhappy, Alex Hurricane Higgins, who, having been in the final on 3 consecutive occasions, lost out completely in the last 2 frames with this man here.
It was all like sort of Disney World to me, and I just went out and played and thought, isn't it great to be here, and played well and won the events, you know. But of course there was only a few tournaments in those days, so they were special.
1981, and Higgins' love affair with the Masters continues. He was out for revenge on Terry Griffiths.
Wonderful setting for a wonderful tournament. And that's the ball. The first man then to have his name twice on the Benson and Hedges Masters Trophy is Alex Hurricane Higgins.
Higgins was to take a break from Wembley finals for the next 5 years. But in 1985, he was involved in one of the greatest matches ever to be played at the Masters, against Steve Davis in the first round. It was 4 frames all, and they were down to the final blue.
Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that was awkward for Davis. And this is potable. Blue and pink to win. Higgins does it, and Wembley Conference Centre erupts. Four times this season, Higgins has lost to Davis, but now he's won. And a tremendous evening for him and his supporters. The People's Champion has done it again.
I've at last found a cue that I believe in. You know, I mean, people have said, oh, he's after another cue over the years and what have you, but since I lost the original, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I've never had the feel. And just by chance, thanks to a bloke in Mansfield, I hope you're there, he's a taxi driver, he brought me around to his house for a drink and he had the cue, and we're on our way.
The new cue didn't actually help Higgins beyond that first round. He lost his next game and had to wait 2 years for his next Wembley final. Dennis Taylor made it an all-Irish affair. Higgins was confined to his chair whilst Taylor staged an amazing comeback from 3 frames down with 4 to play.
He doesn't care now. All the butterflies have gone.
14.
One must offer commiserations.
One must offer commiserations to Alex. He's played so brilliantly throughout this tournament and indeed in this final. But it wasn't to be.
$25.
And Alex comes forward, congratulates Dennis, who at his 10th attempt becomes the Benson and Hedges Master of 1987.
To win that final was very, very satisfying. In fact, the way I won the final against Alex Higgins, I was 8-5 behind and had to win the last 4 frames. And my good friend Trevor East was there, and he told me that Alex's manager had got the champagne, a dozen bottles of champagne out in the press room when he was leading 8-5. And that spurred me on a little bit. I thought that was a little bit premature. So I fought back and won the last 4 games and won a very exciting last frame to beat Alex in the final.
The Masters was just about the only tournament Steve Davis didn't dominate during the 80s. His name was added to the tournament's Roll of Honour twice, though. The first time in 1982. Terry Griffiths was his opponent, the Welshman playing in his 3rd consecutive final.
Steve goes 1 point ahead. Just requires this final block.
23.
An extraordinary young snooker player, 24-year-old Steve Davis, who over the past 14 months has taken no fewer than 13 titles and finally has the one he wanted, the Masters title.
Steve Davis was busy winning world championships for the next 6 years, but did make the Masters final again in 1988. His opponent was Mike Hallett, who enjoyed snooker's luckiest ever escape in the semi-final against John Parrott. He needed 4 snookers to win.
It's there, and surely he cannot miss the black. And just look at John. She's never seen a frame of snooker like this before. Wow, wonderful, wonderful snooker.
Hallett's luck didn't last. In the final, he was thrashed 9-0 by Davis. Cliff Thorburn proved himself to be one of the all-time masters. He won his first in 1983, defeating Ray Reardon. The Canadian won the title again in 1985, beating Doug Mountjoy. And then in 1986, he became the first player to retain the title, beating Jimmy White. Jimmy White had made a whirlwind debut the previous year when he defeated Terry Griffiths 9-5 to become the then youngest Masters champion. He was quite unused to the silverware.
What do I do with this? You want me to hold this?
You hold it.
Oh, all right. I just wondered what's happening.
Listen, after you win, you swallow it if you want you to. Don't worry about it.
1984, of course, will be best remembered for the 147 maximum break by Kirk Stevens.
140.
Get in! Lovely! Super! Oh, that's really wonderful. Just look at that. Good heavens above, Rex. Isn't that marvellous?
That was fantastic. A wonderful break, Jack. Really magnificent. I'm so pleased for Kirk Stevens. Tremendous.
I remember, obviously a match with Jimmy White and Kirk Stevens where Stevens made a maximum and Jimmy made 2 centuries, and I had that match actually on videotape, and it was one of the best matches I think I'd seen for ever. So obviously it would be a dream, to play at Wembley. It always looked like such a great atmosphere, it's such a large venue, and with it being a tournament where it was the top players only, to be involved in that would be special.
1989 was the year when Stephen Hendry got involved. The Masters had a new trophy, and it was to have a new champion for the next 5 years. John Parrott was the first victim of the 20-year-old Scot.
So in goes the pink, a handshake, and Stephen Hendry, the new Masters champion, the youngest champion ever. Marvellous performance, 9 frames to 6.
The pair met again in the final a year later, with Stephen Hendry becoming only the second player to retain the title. Hendry's most satisfying victory was over Mike Hallett in 1991. The final looked all but over after Hallett raced into a 7-0 lead. Hendry began a fight back, but at 8-2 down with Hallett leading pink and black, it looked too late.
And how anxious now is Steve? Big shot. Wow, just look at this. Now, has it got away?
Mike Hallett.
The cheer goes up, and Stephen Hendry pulls another one back. It is now 8 frames to 3.
And that was the shot of a
4. Thank
world
you.
champion.
Just the pink for a hat-trick of Masters titles. The great comeback. Mike Hallett led 7-0 and 8-2. He was within 2 pots of winning 9-2. But Stephen Hendry, world champion that he is, hung on and hung on and hung on, and has won by 9 frames to 8.
It was a crazy match to win, really. I didn't really have any right to win it, but you know, Mike started making more and more mistakes, and you know, towards the end, both of us were obviously quite nervous, and I managed to make the least mistakes at the end.
Hendry faced John Parrott again in the 92 final, but it wasn't to be third time lucky for the Liverpudlian. He lost 9-4. James Watanabe attempted to end Hendry's reign in 93, but the world number 3 went the way of all the others. Hendry won his 5th Masters title and set a record that will surely be very hard to beat.
You never know. I mean, obviously, nobody would have thought I would have come along and done it 5 times. So you just never know what's going to happen in the future. But I think it'll stand for a little bit of time yet.
It was an all-Scottish encounter in last year's final. The man dubbed snooker's nearly man, Alan McManus, was looking to lift his first major trophy. Both players were in sensational form.
Great pot.
1.
The match went all the way to the final frame. Hendry's astonishing unbeaten run of 23 matches at Wembley was about to end.
£115,000 to come as first prize. His first major title. He beats Stephen Hendry by 9 frames to 8 to bring the world champions' 23-match winning streak at Wembley to a close.
To win this event as well, you know, it's a dream come true, and beating Stephen the first time he's been beat here, and beating him in my first major final as well, it's just worked out perfect, you know.
It was disappointing, yeah. Obviously, any time you lose, it doesn't make you happy. But you know, I'd had 5 victories in a final appearance, and if someone had said to me before I started, you know, that I could have that record, you know, I'd have bit their hand off.
Two 19-year-olds were born in the year of the very first Masters. There's something wonderfully appropriate about all that, isn't there? But great memory.